Hey, Vikings Nation. Skol today. The Minnesota Vikings win big. It's your host, Mike here. Ecstatic. 34-7 win today. Did we finally silence the critics? Can you hear them? You hear Vegas? Yeah, I didn't think so. Today, they put their stamp on it. There is no doubt tomorrow, this whole week, the national media is going to pick up on the Minnesota Vikings. They have no more excuses. They have came in back-to-back weeks and beat the snot out of two good teams. So ecstatic. I had to take like 15, 20 minutes before I even shot this because it had just been me screaming in the mic for 20 to 30 minutes, just ranting. Defense set the tone early today. I mean, right off the get-go. We had talked about that in the last episode. It's one of the things we got right. But kudos, Brian Flores again. That defense just flying all over the field. I mean, just a great win. Great win. Can't be more happy. This defense is real. This offense is real. This team's real. There's no doubt. This is definitely a good football team, which we've said that from week one and felt that way during the whole off season, before the season started. Definitely a statement game. They put their stamp on it today. Nobody can say anything now. Our Minnesota Vikings, 3-0, leading currently in the NFC North, beat two very good playoff caliber teams and an NFL team that it was struggling week one. Doesn't matter. Took care of business. I mean, beating the brakes off of all three teams. Nobody that we went up against this year so far has given us a challenge. So let's get into the game. Sam Darnold played his part, 17 of 28, 181 yards, 4 touchdowns and a QBR of 119.2. Was sacked 4 times, did go out for one play, kind of got hit low by ex-Viking Neil Hunter. However, he came right back in on the very next play, was able to finish out the game. He's got to get the ball out better. He did good job today. However, Kevin O'Connell in the third quarter had to burn a timeout, and he wasn't happy about it because they had audibled out of that play and did not give the offensive line and everyone enough time to set, and the coach had to go running down the field and call a timeout. Little things they got to clean up. All in all, Sam Darnold played phenomenal today. Again, another big play quarterback job done today. Didn't turn the ball over, had a few questionable throws, but when it wasn't there, he threw it away when he had a clean pocket. Play action worked great today. He was phenomenal in play action. I think he only had 2 incompletions in play action because we got the running game going early, which is what we said we had to do. Aaron Jones finished today, 19 rushes, 102 yards, but also caught the ball 5 times for 46 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones, again, X factor, that he balled out today. He cleaned up what he missed last week, which is the fumble on the 1 or 2 yard line against the Winners. That didn't happen today. He held on to the ball, held it strong. Our offensive line, I mean, what a night and day difference from last year. Like, we have a running game. And is it all Aaron Jones? No, I think it's a combination of the offensive line, the play calling. We've gotten more aggressive. They've done a phenomenal job. I like Blake Brandel at left guard. Ryan O'Neal did go out for a couple series at the end of the third and somewhat of the fourth quarter, but he did come back. So that's encouraging. Hopefully we need to monitor him and Sam Darnold throughout the week. Just see what happens. We've got a big game again next week. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown, all in the first half. All that was done in the first half. Second half, he was shut out. He did have like a finger injury there, but it wasn't anything serious. He was able to continue on and play the rest of the game. But when his number was called upon, he showed up today. But let's talk defense. Man, that defense is nasty. I love it. And Jonathan Grenard against his former team, first time he goes up against them, recorded 3 sacks, but not only 3 sacks, but those 3 sacks totaled 30 yards of loss. So each sack was about 10 yards of loss. A stat in itself, you really think about that. Normally a sack's a 3-4 yard loss. 10 yards a sack average. Phenomenal. And then, so Ivan Pace is a no-go with an ankle injury on Friday, kind of hurts it, tweaks it on Thursday, and then they kind of rule him out this weekend. So Gruger Hill steps in, veteran, former Texan, played for the Panthers last year, had 2 pass deflections, picked up an interception, second play of the game. The defense set the tone right off the bat. We drove down, we scored 7 points right away. But also, if you see in the second possession or the third possession that the Texans had, Gruger Hill had a strip sack. And then they turned it around and said it wasn't because he didn't complete all 3 phases. I saw it. That's a strip sack. Or, I'm sorry, a strip. Wasn't a sack, but a strip ball fumble, recovery. But they reversed the call. He didn't get that. And then Cam Bynum at the end of the game picked up the interception, but he had 6 tackles and a pass deflection. But what was the MVP of that was that dance move, hitting him with the moonwalk there at the end. That's the best dance of the year. So let's go ahead and just crown him, too. That was phenomenal. Love that. Love that, every bit of it. The special teams. We won all 3 phases of the field. They had penalties on kickoff returns. They tried to fair catch a ball. They got penalized for that, even though it's not a penalty, but it's down at the spot. Missed field goals. Again, all 3 phases, we just went out there and destroyed it. Will Riker today, 2 for 2, kicked a 58-yarder off the upright. Will the Thrill's the deal, y'all. I remember watching Vikings games and holding my breath every time we'd have a kicker come out because our luck in the last since '98 has it's not been there. We've had issues in the kicking game, so it's nice to have Will the Thrill. He also put on 4 extra points. He's had a great year for his rookie year to start it off. Ryan Wright kicked an average of 48.3 today, 2 inside the 20, had a long of 55. So kudos to the defense. Kudos to the offense and the special teams. All 3 phases getting it done yet again. Yet again. Texans were exposed all day today. It was funny to me. I don't know if it's just his face, but C.J. Stroud looked like he wanted to cry the whole game. He's a good ball player. He's going to be one for the history books, I believe, when it's all said and done. But today, he had already quit. You saw him on the sidelines. He had the quit face on from about the third quarter on. He was done. He wanted to go home and pack it in. That team's going to rebound. That's a good football team. They got great coaching and their head coach D'Amico Ryans, excuse me. He's a good coach. Like we said, that's the same offense and defense that we played last week. And not only did we improve from last week, we're just exposing these teams. Their offense can't move the ball. The Niners did. They threw for over 300 yards last week, but they never got it in the end zone. That was the problem. They did, but they couldn't do it on a consistent basis. So I don't have enough good things to say about this team right now. It is that good, in my opinion. Offensive penalties definitely are an issue. We've got to clean that up. Bradbury got hit with 2, but that's to be expected. This game was going to be fought in the trenches. Both offensive lines struggled today in a sense of pre-snap or formation, not lining up properly. But, Garrett Bradbury had 2, but after the second quarter, he had cleaned that all up. That was all gone. Left tackle for the Texans, Laramie Tunzel, former Dolphin, first rounder. I was traded to Texans, years back. 5 penalties today. 5 penalties. If your left tackle has 5 penalties in a game, if your offensive line has 5 penalties in a game pre-snap, you got problems. One player on the blind side, he was anticipating getting blown up the whole game. That they spooked this offensive side of the Texans today. They did. And the team, it shows. They're not disciplined. They have a ton of talent on that offensive side of the ball at the Houston Texans, but that only goes so far. When the dysfunction and not being a disciplined football team, that'll start to expose you. So you have to clean that up if you're the Texans. But we're not here to talk about the Texans at all. Kudos to the fans today. Man, they brought the house down on the Texans. Loud. That's the loudest stadium. I love going to US Bank Stadium. I can't wait. I'll be there at the Falcons game this year. I'm stoked. I want to see us just crush Kirk Cousins. So that was the game that I definitely want to be at this year. Also, I love Charles Davis. He's just a breath of knowledge, and he's so unbiased. He's not a biased commentator. He just talks football. He just loves the game. I love Charles Davis. I wish he'd go to Monday Night Football I think he'd be phenomenal on Monday Night Football. He's probably my favorite commentator. I like John Gruden on Monday Night Football because of his breadth of knowledge too. You don't get that a lot with a lot of these, and they're unbiased. Like, I like that. They just like football. So love seeing Charles Davis call the game today. Conclusion next week. We've got the Packers at Lambeau Field. So on to the next big game. The Jordan Love I'm predicting is definitely going to be back to play in that game. Going to be a game next week. Packers, you got to give them credit. With Love down, kind of like us last year, we lost our quarterback. We won the first 2 games. They've won back-to-back games with Malik Willis, which I didn't see that coming. So I'll be the first to own that one. What we got right from the last video, we talked about the defense having to set the tone, the game being played in the trenches, and winning the turnover battle. And all 3 of those came to fruition. I had predicted the game was going to be 24-23, and it ended up being 34-7. So I got that wrong. And I wanted a game winner with Will Reichert. I think I said 54, 55 yards, maybe 57. Well, he kicks a 58-yarder, so I didn't get that right either. But love it. Just love it. So proud of my team. The bandwagon's open. Media, Fairweather fans, come on in. The weather's nice. That's all I can say. But until next time, please hit the like and subscribe button. Mike out.